Start your journey. Maya's story is yours too. These 12 steps, understanding memory, paying attention, visualizing, storytelling, spaced repetition, emotional connection, teaching, mind palaces, pre-sleep review, writing, active recall, and protecting your mind are your roadmap. Practice them daily, and you'll not only remember names, facts, and English words, but also unlock your brain's full potential. Your memory isn't broken, it's waiting to be unleashed. Start today and make your mind unforgettable.
Remembering anything forever. Prologue. A mind in chaos. Imagine this. You're standing in the middle of a crowded room, a party buzzing with laughter and conversation. Someone introduces themselves. Let's call them Sarah. You smile, shake hands, and nod politely. But just 5 minutes later, when someone asks, "Who is that person you were talking to?" your mind goes blank. Sarah? Sandra? Was it even an S name? The moment slips away, leaving you frustrated, embarrassed, and wondering, why can't I remember anything? This is where our story begins, with a young woman named Maya, someone just like you who felt her memory was a leaky bucket, unable to hold on to the things that mattered. Maya was a 24-year-old student, juggling college exams, a part-time job, and a dream of mastering English to land her dream job as a translator. But no matter how hard she studied, names slipped through her fingers, facts vanished during exams, and even simple grocery lists evaporated from her mind. She felt overwhelmed, her head cluttered with information, yet unable to recall what she needed when it counted. One day, after forgetting a crucial presentation at work and stumbling through a conversation in English, Maya hit rock bottom. "I'm not stupid," she told herself, tears welling up. "So why does my brain keep failing me?" That night, scrolling through YouTube, she stumbled across a video titled, "How to Unlock Your Brain and Remember Anything Forever." The speaker's voice was confident, promising not just quick fixes, but a deep, transformative system to master memory. Intrigued, Maya pressed play, unaware that this moment would change her life. What follows is Maya's journey, a step-by-step transformation from a forgetful, overwhelmed student to a memory master. Along the way, you'll learn the exact techniques she used to unlock her brain, improve her English, and take control of her mind. This isn't just a guide, it's a story of empowerment, a roadmap to make your memory unshakable and your confidence unstoppable. Whether you're struggling to remember names, ace exams, or speak fluent English, Maya's journey will show you how to remember what matters and trust your mind again. Let's begin. Understanding the machinery of memory. Maya's first lesson was a revelation. Her memory wasn't broken, it was simply untrained. The video began with a powerful analogy that stuck with her. "Your brain is like a library," the speaker said. "Every piece of information, a name, a fact, a date, is a book. If you toss those books onto the shelves without care, without labeling them or revisiting them, they get lost in the chaos. But if you place them carefully, organize them, and return to them, they stay accessible forever." This made sense to Maya. She thought about her chaotic study sessions, cramming for exams by skimming pages without focus, or meeting people at networking events and forgetting their names moments later. The speaker explained why. Most people don't understand how memory works. There are two types of memory, short-term and long-term, and the key to remembering forever lies in moving information from the fleeting whiteboard of short-term memory to the permanent notebook of long-term memory. Short-term memory, the speaker explained, is like a temporary holding area. It can only store a few items for a short time, about 20 to 30 seconds, unless you actively work to save them. Long-term memory, on the other hand, is nearly limitless, capable of storing information for a lifetime. The problem? Most people never take the steps to transfer information from short-term to long-term storage. They hear a name but don't repeat it. They read a fact but don't connect it to something meaningful. They study but never review. As a result, the information vanishes, leaving them feeling like their memory is defective. Maya thought back to a recent incident at a college event. She'd met a professor named Dr. Patel, who could have been a valuable contact for her translation career. They'd chatted for 10 minutes, but when she saw him again the next day, she froze. She couldn't recall his name. Why does this keep happening? She wondered. The speaker's answer was clear. Maya hadn't processed Dr. Patel's name. She hadn't repeated it, visualized it, or connected it to anything emotional. It was just a sound that passed through her short-term memory and disappeared. The speaker introduced a simple but powerful truth. Memory is not a talent, it's a skill. And like any skill, it can be learned, practiced, and mastered. Maya felt a spark of hope. If memory was a skill, she could train it, just like she'd trained herself to ride a bike or write essays. The first step was understanding the mechanics of memory, and now she was ready to build a new system. My memory isn't broken, my system is, and I'm going to fix it. The power of paying attention. The next lesson hit Maya like a thunderbolt. You can't remember what you never truly noticed. The speaker's words were blunt. You don't have a memory problem, you have an attention problem. Maya realized this was her biggest obstacle. Her days were a blur of distractions, scrolling through Instagram, texting friends, half listening to lectures while checking emails. She was physically present, but mentally absent, and her memory was paying the price. The speaker explained that the brain receives millions of sensory inputs daily: sounds, sights, smells, notifications, conversations. If it tried to store everything, it would overload. So it filters based on one thing: attention. What you focus on gets saved, what you ignore gets discarded. Attention is the door to memory, the speaker said. If you don't open it, nothing gets inside. Maya thought about a recent incident that stung. She'd taken a cab to a job interview, her mind racing with worries about her resume and her shaky English. When she got out, she left her bag in the car, containing her notes and portfolio. Panicked, she tried to recall the taxi's license plate or the driver's face, but her mind was blank. Why? Because she hadn't paid attention. She had been too distracted to notice the car's details or even glance at the driver's name tag. If she'd paused for just 5 seconds to focus, look at the plate, note the driver's appearance, she might have saved herself hours of stress. The speaker shared a practical strategy. Give anything you want to remember 5 seconds of full attention. Pause, look, listen, repeat it in your head, say it out loud. Maya decided to test this immediately. The next day, at a coffee shop, she met a barista named Leo. Instead of nodding absent-mindedly, she paused, looked at his name tag, and said, "Nice to meet you, Leo." She repeated his name in her head, picturing a lion, like Leo the lion, brewing coffee. Later that day, when she returned, she greeted him by name, and his smile confirmed she'd nailed it. For the first time, she felt in control of her memory. From that moment, Maya made attention her foundation. Before studying, she turned off her phone notifications. In conversations, she focused on the speaker's words, not her to-do list. During lectures, she stopped multitasking and started listening intently, jotting down key points. She realized that attention wasn't just about memory. It was about being present in her life. And as she practiced, her confidence grew along with her ability to recall names, facts, and even English phrases she'd struggled with before. Weaving stories to connect the dots. The next step took Maya's visual skills to a new level: the story method. Your brain loves stories, not lists, the speaker said. Facts are boring, but narratives are magnetic. Wrap what you want to remember in a story, and it will stick forever. Maya tested this with a list of random words she needed for a vocabulary quiz: cloud, river, candle, book, shoes. Repeating them felt futile, so she created a story. A fluffy cloud floats above a sparkling river.
where a candle sails on a tiny boat, reading a glowing book. Suddenly, the book sprouts legs, puts on shiny shoes, and dances away. The story was absurd, but when Maya closed her eyes, she could replay it like a movie, recalling every word in order. This method became her secret weapon. For a presentation at work, she needed to memorize 5 key points about translation techniques. Instead of bullet points, she imagined a translator superhero flying through a city, each building representing a technique. The first building was a library, research skills, the second a microphone tower, clear communication, and so on. During the presentation, she mentally walked through the city, delivering each point flawlessly without notes. The speaker emphasized that stories work because they create connections, emotions, and movement, things the brain craves. Maya started using stories for everything: English phrasal verbs, historical timelines, even her weekly schedule. The crazier the story, the better it worked. She realized this was how memory champions memorize decks of cards or thousands of digits, by turning abstract data into vivid narratives. For Maya, stories weren't just a memory tool. They were a way to make learning fun, creative, and deeply personal.
Spaced repetition, the key to permanent memory. Maya's next breakthrough came with spaced repetition, a technique the speaker called the secret weapon of memory champions. The idea was simple but profound. One-time learning is temporary, but reviewing information at strategic intervals makes it permanent. The speaker introduced the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve, a scientific principle showing that without review, most information fades within days. Spaced repetition counters this by scheduling reviews at increasing intervals: 1 hour, 1 day, 2 days, 4 days, 1 week, and so on. Maya decided to apply this to her English studies. She was learning the word ephemeral, meaning short-lived. On day 1, she wrote a sentence: "The beauty of cherry blossoms is ephemeral, fading in days." An hour later, she recalled it without looking. The next day, she used it in a conversation. "That sunset felt ephemeral, gone too soon." By day 4, she wrote a short story about an ephemeral love. By day 7, she taught the word to a friend. After 2 weeks, ephemeral was hers forever. She could use it effortlessly in essays and conversations. To make this easier, Maya downloaded a free app called Anki, which prompted her to review words at optimal intervals. But she also used a low-tech method, a notebook where she wrote new words and checked them daily, then every few days. The key was consistency, not intensity. She realized cramming for exams had been her downfall, stuffing her brain with facts that vanished under pressure. Spaced repetition was like watering a plant regularly, letting her knowledge grow deep roots. This technique transformed her academic performance. For a biology exam, she reviewed key terms like mitosis and photosynthesis using spaced repetition, creating flashcards with vivid images and stories. When the exam came, she didn't just recall the terms, she understood them deeply, acing questions she'd have fumbled before. Spaced repetition wasn't just about memory, it was about building confidence in her ability to learn anything.
Harnessing the power of emotion. The speaker's next lesson struck a chord with Maya. The stronger the emotion, the deeper the memory. The brain prioritizes feelings over facts, storing emotionally charged moments forever. Maya thought about her childhood. She couldn't recall what she ate for lunch last week, but she vividly remembered her first day of school, the embarrassment of tripping in front of her class, and the joy of her first English award. Why? Because those moments were soaked in emotion. The speaker explained that the amygdala, a part of the brain, flags emotional experiences as important, ensuring they're stored in long-term memory. To remember anything, Maya needed to connect it to a feeling. She tested this with a history fact: the signing of the Magna Carta in 1215. Instead of memorizing the date, she imagined herself as a medieval peasant, watching kings and barons argue passionately over a scroll, feeling hope for justice. The date 1215 became not just a number,
but a story of struggle and triumph etched in her mind. For English vocabulary, she applied the same principle. The word melancholy, meaning deep sadness, was dry until she connected it to a rainy day when she felt alone, picturing herself under an umbrella whispering the word. The emotion made it unforgettable. Even for boring topics like math formulas, she added fake emotion. For the area of a circle, pi r squared, she imagined a giant pizza, her favorite food, being cut into a perfect circle, sparking joy and hunger. The silliness worked. The formula stuck. Maya realized that emotion wasn't just about memory. It was about making learning meaningful. By caring about what she learned, she wasn't just memorizing, she was living the knowledge. Her English essays became richer, her conversations more confident, and her memory stronger than ever. Teaching to learn twice. The next step was a game changer. Teach what you learn, the speaker said. When you teach, you become the master. You recall, organize, and rebuild the knowledge, making it yours forever. Maya had never considered this, but it made sense. When she explained concepts to her study group, she understood them better herself. She tested this with the new English phrase, to bite the bullet, to face a difficult task. After learning it, she called her friend Priya and said, "You know, bite the bullet? It's like when I had to give that scary presentation last week, I just faced it head on." Explaining it forced Maya to clarify the meaning, use it in context, and connect it to her life. Days later, she used the phrase naturally in a conversation, surprising herself with how effortlessly it came. Maya started teaching everything she learned. She recorded voice notes explaining grammar rules, wrote blog posts about study tips, and even taught her younger brother vocabulary words. Each time, her understanding deepened and her memory solidified. She realized teaching wasn't just about helping others, it was a gift to herself. Her English fluency soared as she explained idioms and phrases, and her confidence grew as she saw herself as a knowledge sharer, not just a student. Building a mind palace. The speaker introduced Maya to a legendary technique, the mind palace, used by ancient philosophers and modern memory champions. It leverages the brain's natural ability to remember places. Maya chose her childhood home as her palace, picturing its rooms vividly: the creaky front door, the cozy living room, the cluttered kitchen, her small bedroom.
Thank you for
To
watching
test
this
it,
video.
she needed to
If you found
memorize
this
the
video
stages of the
insightful,
water cycle:
please like, subscribe,
evaporation,
and share it with others.
condensation,
Let us know in the comments
precipitation,
what other
collection.
historical figures you'd like
She
us to
assigned
cover.
each stage
Until
to
next
a
time,
room.
stay curious,
In the living
stay
room,
informed,
she imagined
and
a
let's
steaming
keep history's
kettle,
lessons alive.
evaporation. In the kitchen, clouds formed on the ceiling, condensation. In the bedroom, rain poured from a chandelier, precipitation. At the front door, water flowed into a giant bucket, collection. Walking through her mental home, she recalled each stage perfectly. The mind palace became Maya's superpower. For an English exam, she memorized quotes from Shakespeare by placing them in her palace. Hamlet's "to be or not to be" echoed in the bathroom, while Romeo's "Juliet is the sun" glowed on the balcony. For job interviews, she stored key talking points in her palace, walking through it mentally to deliver polished answers. The technique was like a mental filing cabinet, organizing her knowledge in a way her brain loved. Reviewing before sleep. The speaker revealed a scientific gem. The brain organizes memories during sleep, especially in the final moments before bed. Reviewing key information right before sleeping signals the brain to prioritize it. Maya made this a nightly ritual. Before bed, she turned off her phone, opened her notebook, and reviewed 5 key things she'd learned that day: vocabulary, facts, or skills. She whispered them, visualized them, and felt proud of her progress. One night, she reviewed the English word ubiquitous, meaning everywhere. She pictured Wi-Fi signals, ubiquitous in modern life, floating around her room. The next morning, she used the word in a sentence without hesitation. This ritual not only strengthened her memory, but also calmed her mind, improving her sleep and focus. Her exam scores improved, and her English conversations felt smoother, as if her brain was working overnight to polish her skills. Writing as the brain's save button. Writing, the speaker said, is like pressing save in your brain. Handwriting in particular slows your thinking, deepens understanding, and creates a physical connection to memory. Maya started carrying a small notebook, jotting down everything she wanted to remember: English words, key facts, personal goals. For the word resilience, she wrote, "Resilience equals bouncing back, like when I failed my first exam but kept studying." The act of writing made the word real, and she never forgot it. She applied this to her studies, writing summaries of lectures in her own words. For a literature class, she wrote about themes in Pride and Prejudice, connecting them to her own life. The process clarified her thoughts and locked the information in her memory. Even in conversations, she jot down new phrases she heard, like "cut to the chase," and used them later. Writing wasn't just a memory tool, it was a way to build her confidence and fluency in English. Active recall, the ultimate test. The speaker introduced active recall, the process of testing yourself without looking at the answers. Understanding isn't remembering, they said. Can you recall it when it's not in front of you? Maya realized she'd been passively rereading notes, assuming she knew the material. Active recall forced her to confront her gaps. She started using flashcards, covering the answers, and quizzing herself on English vocabulary and exam facts. At first, she struggled, but the effort strengthened her memory. Before bed, she'd recall 3 things she learned that day, like the definition of pragmatic or the causes of World War I. Each retrieval was like lifting a mental weight, making her brain stronger. By the time exams rolled around, she could recall complex concepts under pressure, boosting her grades and her belief in herself.
Protecting the mind from overload. The final step was a wake-up call. Maya's memory wasn't failing because she was incapable, it was overwhelmed. Her brain was cluttered with notifications, social media, and irrelevant information. The speaker compared the mind to a garden. If you let weeds grow, they choke the flowers. Protect your brain from noise. Maya took action. She started her day with 5 minutes of silence, setting intentions without her phone. She unfollowed distracting accounts, muted group chats, and limited YouTube to educational content. Each night, she journaled her thoughts, clearing mental clutter. She practiced digital fasting, spending an hour daily without screens, reading or writing instead. These habits freed up mental space, making her memory sharper and her focus laser-like. One day, she made a grocery list: milk, eggs, bread, apples, soap, and went to the store without distractions. She recalled every item effortlessly, a small but empowering victory. By protecting her mind, she wasn't just remembering better, she was living better, with clarity and purpose.
Maya's transformation. 3 months after starting her journey, Maya was unrecognizable. She aced her exams, delivered flawless presentations, and spoke English with confidence. At a networking event, she met a translator who offered her an internship, and she remembered their name, Amir, by picturing him as a pirate like Amir of the Seas. Her mind, once a chaotic library, was now a well-organized vault filled with vivid images, stories, and knowledge she could access at will. But the real transformation was deeper. Maya no longer doubted herself. She trusted her mind, her ability to learn, and her potential to grow. The 12 steps weren't just about memory. They were about awakening her inner power. And as she spoke English fluently, taught others what she learned, and protected her mental space, she realized she wasn't just remembering facts, she was remembering who she could become.
Thank you for watching this videos. If you found this video insightful, please like, subscribe, and share it with others. Let us know in the comments what other historical figures you'd like us to cover. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and let's keep history's lessons alive.